Jada, the old witch, has used a nasty magical spell to turn the king into a snake. The sorceress has scattered the body parts of the snake all over the castle. The snake must find all of its body parts again to return to its human form and gain the throne.
How long does this take? Who are you? A woman who will replace you. What? Young king, as long as you step down, you won't be hurt. Nonsense! You will pay for your obstinacy. You don't know what you are saying. Haha, you're looking for trouble. Guard! Guard! Zap, 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 zap. Help me, help me, help me.
Hey guys, how's it going? Elliot here again. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a game, and not just any old game. We're going to be talking about Snake Roy. Now, as you guys probably know by now, I'm a huge fan of this game. You're probably wondering why. I've never really shown, well, I have actually shown some gameplay. I did a video on this and another cartridge like this, which is a multi-cart made by the same company that made this game, except this game is for the Game Boy. This game right here, Snake Roy, is actually for something called the Mega Duck. This is one that I've refurbished in a Let's Refurb video on the channel, so feel free to check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But yeah, so the game was released for this, and it's the Mega Duck's basically a clone, kind of knockoff of a Game Boy, really. And eventually the company realised that the Mega Duck was really going to fail, but they've paid all these people to make games, and they've designed all this art, and they've done a load of promotional rubbish, so they might as well utilize the already successful Game Boy, and I just fixed this Game Boy in another video, so we're going to use this one as well. So they released the games on the Game Boy. Now you can see here, this is the artwork of Snake Roy, which is very, very different to the artwork on this. Now, as you guys already know, I've recently done a video with Stuart Ashen from Ashen's, the YouTube channel, and basically I got into this game because when I was like, however old, 13, 14, when he released the video on the Mega Duck, I really, really wanted to find this game. He basically, I think he spliced a picture of the game in on the video and basically said this.
There is a game out for this called Snake Roy. Yes, Snake Roy, and it has the greatest cover art ever that I'm now going to splice in. There, told you. Apparently it's about a king who gets turned into a snake or something, and then has to go and beat up the wizard who did it to him. You know, just like happens all the time.
And that is certainly true, because this artwork is extremely unique. I'll try and get a close-up shot of it here so you can see. It's basically a human head on the body of a snake, surrounded by a load of fire and a castle. Now, for some reason, someone's done an absolutely incredible drawing of this, which I will put on the screen right here. So massive, massive well done to that person. I'd love someone to do some fan art for me of this, which I can print off and put in a frame, because honestly, this artwork is incredible. But as you can see, the later revision which came out of the on the Game Boy, that artwork had kind of been somewhat sacked off and moved to this. When you're actually playing the game, obviously you see nothing like that at all, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So before we do get into that, why did I get this game? Well, it was basically, as I mentioned, I saw that video, and then I just wanted to see what the game was about. Back then, there wasn't a lot of, I didn't do a lot of eBaying. Obviously, I was quite young, and I hadn't really started collecting, so it's always something that just kind of sat in the back of my mind until I was able to pick up a copy. And I haven't stopped. Every time I see a copy of Snake Row which I can get, I get it, because I know it's probably slightly unfair that I'm not letting other people get it, but seriously, I just have an addiction to collecting these things. So I did have 3, but I actually gave my copy to Stuart so that he was able to own a copy as well, because he said that he wanted one, and they are quite difficult to find. But I've actually now recently acquired a 3rd copy. So this is the Super Junior computer version of the Megaduck. Now Ashens recently did a video on his channel of that, and as you can see, it is the same design as the boxes for that console. So really, really cool. This was a version which was later released by Hartung. So this is the Hartung Megaduck right here. It all gets a little bit confusing around this point, so I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. Hartung was another company which licensed the Megaduck, and then they licensed all these other wacky products like the Super Junior computer, and then they rebranded the company kind of and gave it a new mascot, which is this ridiculous duck right here. And then basically just kind of redid the design with this blue kind of colour and the black scheme, which matches the Hartung boxes. And then they released the game. So let's have a look at this. This is the reason why I wanted to make a video. It wasn't really worthwhile making a video on this alone because it's just a pretty generic game, but I'll show you what it is in a minute. But this came up on eBay and it was about £20, and I just really, I didn't want to buy it initially because £20 for one of these things is quite a lot of money. But then I thought about the fact that I'm probably never going to see one of these again. The game boxes are really, really nice and small. They're kind of similar to Japanese Game Boy game boxes, if you've ever seen those before. About the size of a Game Boy Pocket, and about the same thickness as well. So let's have a look on the box. So on the top, fortunately it has English translations. So it says Megaduck Junior Computer System, which is their computer game module. On the side there's a load of different languages, but at the bottom it says the Snake King against the curse of the evil sorceress. I'm reading this through the viewfinder, so it's quite difficult, but the Snake King against the curse of the evil sorceress. And I'll show you the intro to this game in a minute. There's the Hartung logo. There's that beautiful, beautiful artwork again, the ducks under this little sticker right here. And if we flip it over and have a look on the back, the English part is at the bottom as well, and it says, the new super video game from Megaduck. Alarm in the castle. The king has been cursed into the form of a snake, and only an especially talented player can return him to his human form. Plus 40 levels with increasing levels of difficulty. Time limit, password, automatic point counter, extra snake bonus, and pause function, which is obviously a pretty good selling point that you can pause the game so you can go and have your dinner after playing this for 8 hours straight. So let's crack it open. I always hate opening old cardboard boxes because you get that crease in the middle there, which is really depressing. I don't think this has ever been used, and I'll show you why in a minute. Getting this out is also was quite tricky when I first got it, but I'm able to get it out now. So the reason why I don't think this has ever been used is because when I first got it, it came with a piece of tape in the box that had just dried up over time, that had kept this sealed. And if I open this piece of cardboard up, here's the game. It's still in its little bag, and the bag just doesn't look like it's been creased or anything like that. There is a little bit of potential like oxidization down there, which maybe could be an indication that this has been opened. I'll clean that off eventually, but it looks pretty mint condition. I've already got loads of copies, so I'm not going to be playing this one, that is for sure. But it's really cool to have in my collection. This is probably one of my favourite things. I have somewhat stopped collecting. I only do videos, really. The only things I collect are the things that I've done videos on. So, for example, the Game Boy. But, the refurb, sorry. But, yeah, so in here is a Bestel Postacurti, which I believe is just a postcard to, like, a kind of sign it and send off to, I don't know, give them a review. Who knows? I don't think that's going to work anymore now, however. So this is the instruction manual, which is really where it gets really interesting and why I thought this deserved a video on its own. So you've got all these different other languages and on the back as well, But if we have a look at the bottom here on the back, it says operating instructions, which is our language that we speak, which is good. Another really, really weird and interesting point, I don't know why, but I think potentially Hartung, instead of releasing... Oh, no, never mind, because it says Junior Computer System. But look, they've sharpied the bottom address. You can still see it quite clearly, but they've sharpied it and it's come through on the other side. So that's interesting. Right, let me read these to you. Here we go. Snake Roy, cursed and trapped. Jada, the old witch, has used a nasty magical spell to turn the king into a snake. The sorceress has scattered the body parts of the snake all over the castle. The snake must find all its body parts again to return to its human form and gain the throne. So it's off and press the start key. You'll find out the secret behind the password in a moment. First, the story of the king and the wicked sorceress appears, and then the exciting chase in Zone 1 begins. Control the snake with the cursor keys, but be careful not to brush against anything or bite yourself by mistake. You then must find all body parts and eat them. The snake becomes longer when you do this, but when you have found all body parts, the door to the next room opens and you can crawl through. You also receive a password in which you may return to this room without encountering any detours. In addition to the body parts you may find, and then there's a load of point systems. And that's pretty much the end of the crazy backstory. But yeah, I also like this part where it says, altogether there are 5 zones, each with 8 rooms. If you get an extra bonus round with your snake, you should by all means avoid getting caught at some corner. So yeah, lots of innuendos to be had, but we're way too sensible on this channel. So very interesting little backstory there to Snake Roy. What I'm going to do is show you a little bit of gameplay. I'm going to show you it on both the Mega Duck and the Game Boy, just so that you can see how similar it is. There we go, you can see Snake Roy and on the Mega Duck and the Game Boy there, which is really quite a miraculous sight. If I press start on both of them at the same time, you get this wacky cutscene. It's really a lot easier to see it on the Game Boy, so if you can get a version of this, I would recommend trying to find the Game Boy one, although it's quite rare and hard to find. This is that weird intro that I was on about, and then when you actually get into the game, it's basically just snakes, and it is a really good version of snakes. Unfortunately, I don't think that had the Mega Duck used this as the selling point that they would have sold many, because this is the kind of game that you just, you know, you already knew this existed. Snake was a really, really basic game, and there's no other like storyline, there's no text-based storyline in this other than that cutscene at the start, potentially at the end as well. But you know, considering games like Zelda and whatnot were sold on the Game Boy, I don't really think this is going to sell too many Mega Ducks, that's for sure. But it is still a really, really nice game. Another cool thing as well to note is there are 10 levels in each stage. So you can see there it says Zone 1, Level 1. And on each of those levels there's different music. I'm not going to go through all the different levels now because it does get a little bit painful for you guys watching. But I believe there is actually an emulator which you can get of the Mega Duck as well. So if you wanted to check it out like that, and maybe if you want, I could even do a live stream and maybe try and finish it or something like that. But 40 levels of this at this pace is quite painful. But here's the next zone. So you can hear the music actually does switch up there, which is quite cool. And then you're basically just going around, you're collecting these apparently body parts, but I think it's a little bit weird that they've decided to name it that. I think they were honestly just trying to make the story sound more interesting. But hey ho. Alright, and that is going to conclude this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed me talking about my absolute all-time favourite game. If you see any copies of Snake Roy, go ahead and grab them before I do, because I'm definitely going to try and snatch them up. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, don't take this as my first video and this is what every other video is going to be like. I never do videos like this, but I just thought it would be appropriate to share with you my favourite game of all time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And also check out the video that I did with Stuart. I'll put that in the description below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.